Prime Minister says protecting the forest is a shared responsibility. Australian volunteer admitted for COVID. And PomGen appeal for blood donation.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayre.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Saturday's news. In his message to the COP26 Global Landscape Forum, Prime Minister James Marape says the protection of forests is a shared responsibility. PM Marape said global players must stand together and assist small nations to counteract the effect of climate change. He says the COP26 GLF dialogue is the only platform to create sustainable landscape going into the future.
From Papua New Guinea.
In a recorded video, Prime Minister James Marape said forests around the world is now threatened and vulnerable due to human activities. He says enough talking has been done and developed countries must stand together. The Prime Minister says the Global Landscape Forum must address the threat that has remained over the years.
Following the high-level Leaders Summit sessions on Monday and Tuesday, we have high expectations from COP26. Expectations, however, are not results or outcomes, and it is vitally important that we go beyond good intentions and lofty pledges. We must move beyond words and take actions. As a leader of a forest nation and coming from a forest people, we have also been immensely gratified by the attention that forest has triggered as we seek to reconcile the interconnected challenges of biodiversity loss, deforestation, and climate change.
PM Marape also expressed that the topic of forest has not been a theme in the past major meetings. He says the move by COP26 nations to stop deforestation by 2030, global funds created to assist small nations must be actioned. PM Marape says the value of forest is high but receives less attention.
God has blessed us in Papua New Guinea with about 13% of world's tropical rainforest and 6% of world's biodiversity. These global assets we want to help preserve. We continue to call for actions that commensurate the level of emissions. That is only fair as we contemplate our need to pursue development, but remain cognizant of our collective responsibility to contribute to environment adaptation and mitigation and our collective efforts through the MDCs to keep temperatures under 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Concluding his remarks, Prime Minister says though positive steps have been made, superpowers must assist through relevant programs to sustain its forest. He says it's a shared responsibility.
As the chair of the Coalition of Rainforest Nations, Papua New Guinea stands at an important crossroad. We are, for instance, a net remover of carbon from the atmosphere. The removal capacity from our forests is over 100 million tons per year. Our energy emissions are presently around 10 million tons per year. Therefore, if the REDD+ mechanism delivers as it should, Papua New Guinea can remain where every country needs to be by 2050 under the Paris Agreement, a net remover of carbon from the atmosphere. The recognition that forest protection and wise land stewardship by indigenous communities is an eligible outcome for this new funding is immense. For too long, the bad actors have been rewarded for being a little bit less bad, whilst good actors, both state and private, were unrewarded. Papua New Guinea has done an amazing job preserving 75% forest cover, but cannot continue doing so alone. Forests are a shared global benefit, and therefore their protection needs to be a global shared responsibility. This new declaration lays the framework for that now to happen, and we will support it at the national, provincial, and community levels. And as you gather in Glasgow for COP26 and GLF climate event, it is very fitting that you are addressing the theme of positive tipping points. Priorities and incentives and resources are now aligning to trigger self-reinforcing positive outcomes. The government, people, and companies of Papua New Guinea stand ready to work with the global community and willing partners to make our collective global forest be more valuable, more viable, more vibrant, and more vital.
Jacob Pava Jr., National MTV News.
The PNG envoy to the COP26 Leaders Summit have signed a second deal to harness the development of green energy and hydrogen projects. Energy Minister Saki Saloma penned the deal with Australian Fortescue Future Industry in Glasgow, Scotland. Minister Saloma said the signed Master Development Agreement will enable FFI to undertake feasibility studies to develop up to 7 hydropower projects and 11 geothermal energy projects in PNG. Saloma said these projects will transform PNG to become a leader in renewable energy transition. The deal is expected to produce up to 2.3 million tonnes of green hydrogen per year once the projects are completed. The signing was also witnessed by Environment Minister Mori and his Australian counterpart.
Global markets. The process for producing green hydrogen and ammonia are proven technologies. And we understand that with further research and development, green energy will substantially be the energy source of the future. Papua New Guinea, in partnership with Fortescue Future Industries, are in the exclusive club of first mover countries in the green energy space. Immediately after the signing of the Master Development Agreement, Fortescue Future Industries will commence feasibility studies at potential sites on hydro and geothermal products.
It is a deep honour to say that the relationship is far beyond economic, it's far beyond investment. It reaches deep and socially between our nations, between all of us as friends. Prime Minister Marape, it's with no small pride that I call you my brother, because it is the strength of that relationship which will carry this great success forward. It is true that the green industrial revolution has already started. It is not yet understood by most of the world that when history records these precious moments, that it will also record.
Small businesses in Wewak are finding it difficult to expand their business as they are faced with land ownership challenges. Wendy Ramina, who runs a service station in town, says they have plans to increase the fuel storage capacity but aren't able to do as negotiations with landowners are very challenging.
Wendy Rakwale Ramina owns one of the only 2 service stations in Wewak town. While she works hard to maintain constant supply of fuel to feed the increasing demand from both East and West Sepik, there is clearly a need to expand the station's fuel capacity or expand her fuel business.
My service station was built in 1996, and I have 20 liters of gasoline and 20 liters of petrol.
But plans to expand the business are faced with the huge challenge of land.
So as for me, being an owner of one of the Puma outlet here, we've been trying to liaise with the landowners, but it's very difficult. We only have customary land. We don't have any more state land.
Wendy is calling on all landowners in Wewak town to work together to form ILGs and lease their land to the government for development.
As a business person here, and I can say business is growing. We don't have enough land now for business to come in. And we have a lot of settlers here, and it's causing us a lot of problems and always fighting. It's very bad for the development here and for investors to come. My advice will for the landowners that work local to get themselves working together and get the ILGs and come up with something and lease their land to the government to do something and do development.
Wendy is a hard-working woman, not only running a service station, but also a pokies bar and recently opened a new lodge.
I started with a service station here in 1996, and then in 2006, I was the first woman here with the locals in Sepik to do ayaka. And then after that, all the other Sepiks came into doing ayaka, and I kind of quit ayaka, and then I went into doing the pokies in 2009, and I just started my lodge last year. I finished it last year.
Shaman Poriameb, National EMTV News.
Among stories after the break, a volunteer nurse contracts COVID-19 and the Port Moresby General Hospital in need of blood donation. Those stories and more after the break. Welcome back. The Los Alliance Alumni Association, PNG, has called off one of its major fundraising drives after they received a directive from the Pandemic Controller's Office. The association, that has spearheaded several projects for the De La Salle Secondary School in Port Moresby, have postponed their scheduled dinner fundraiser that was supposed to be hosted tonight.
The Los Alliance Alumni Association, PNG, has spearheaded projects for the De La Salle Secondary School in Bomana and is an association in which the alumni of the school have banded together to give back to the school.
Our cause is about giving back. It's about supporting our schools. It's about supporting the current students and administration in providing Christian principle education and upholding moral ethical values.
One of the major fundraising drive is to host a corporate dinner, which was scheduled for tonight, but due to COVID-19 protocols put on by the Pandemic Controller's Office, they have to postpone.
With regards to our corporate dinner, which has been one of the biggest event that the association had planned and had worked towards, we have received notification from authorities, from the Controller's Office, that we can only host 100 people, which is 10 tables. We have sold more than 20 tables, about 23. We have 7 more to go, which we are sure that these 7 will be sold.
The group is looking to have this matter solved with the Controller's Office soon.
We also would like to question the Controller's Office as to why our application, while pending approval from the Controller's Office since July of this year, there was another application that was made by the PNG think tank group in September, which we understand, and was given the approval to host a similar event as to ours. We will take a formal approach with the Controller's Office for them to address to us why we were only given 100 seats while they allowed the PNG think tank group to have on board 400 guests.
The association has several more goals to achieve and projects to roll out and are poised for long-term success.
Ultimately, we're looking at creating a university, a De La Salle University in the country, which is a long-term goal that we're looking at. But thank you to all our sponsors, and for those of you who have bought tickets, please keep an eye out. The link is below. We'll be posting it on Facebook and on social media for you to watch the live streaming of the draw. And once again, thank you so much for your support.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV News.
An Australian volunteer in PNG decided to be admitted at the Nightingale COVID-19 ward at the Tarama Aquatic Centre after he tested positive for COVID-19. Corey Sclater, a registered nurse from Sydney, came to PNG in June and has been actively involved with St. John Ambulance.
Corey Sclater came to Port Moresby in June this year.
I have been here since June as part of an emergency medical team that came over to assist with the COVID crisis. Background, I'm an acute care specialist registered nurse. I'm currently studying a master's in clinical nursing through distance online.
He is a registered nurse at Sydney and currently works as the Assistant Director Nursing with St. John Ambulance PNG.
I wanted to come to PNG to volunteer for the Australian Volunteers program, obviously for experience, to see the world when no one else could travel, and to really help out our brothers and sisters, our closest neighbour. They've helped us on multiple occasions from the Second World War in Kokoda and stuff like that. So it's time to help, give the help back and really assist those in need.
Last month, he tested positive for COVID-19 and decided to join the rest of their patients at the Nightingale COVID-19 ward at the Tarama Aquatic Centre.
So I woke up one morning and I had a bit of a scratchy throat, a bit of a blocked nose. I thought I should practice what I preach and get tested. So I went and got tested and I was positive, and I thought, Corey, you've got a decision here. You completely feel fine, just apart from a bit of a blocked nose. You're double vaccinated. You can isolate at home, and you can do a bit of study or whatever, or you can go into the centre and be with your brothers and sisters and help out as much as possible while also getting better. And I thought, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be both experienced, have the lived experience of being a patient in the centre, so I know firsthand what it's like, and then also being able to help out with the staff and then still learn from them as well, and not miss out on the great opportunity that I've been given to work at the Nightingale COVID Care Centre.
He described the experience working here with local nurses and doctors as something not found in the lecture books. An experience never to be forgotten, as he has learnt a lot, especially working in scenarios where there is limited resources and an abundance of tropical illnesses and lifestyle diseases.
So coming here, obviously it's been a challenge with certain resources and stuff like that in Papua New Guinea, but the skills that I've seen from the clinical staff and the determination and passion is unprecedented. And I've really learned stuff, not just about myself, but about my career, and learned skills that I can take back home with me eventually to Australia and spread to my colleagues that I work with there. And I hope I've made a positive difference on the staff and work environment here as well.
Corey has recovered from COVID-19 and continues to serve at the Nightingale COVID-19 Centre. Shaman Porambeb, National EMTV News.
Police Commissioner David Manning has endorsed the Eastern Highlands Province Police Reservist Program to beef up police manpower to address COVID-19 and policing challenges in the province. When signing the Memorandum of Understanding with Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu this week, the Police Commissioner said reservists have been a great asset to the constabulary in the early days. However, it was discontinued due to the lack of proper command and control. The current COVID-19 crisis, coupled with the ongoing law and order situation across the country, has prompted the police to revive the reservist program in partnership with provincial governments and other statutory bodies. People Power Movement leader and activist Noel Anjo has presented copies of a letter to host a peaceful protest march to Parliament on Tuesday, November 16th. The letter of permit was presented to city authorities, including police. The purpose of the protest is oppose mandatory vaccination, both in the public and private sector. The activist says a petition will be presented to the government on Tuesday by way of providing alternatives or solution to vaccination in the fight against COVID-19 in the country.
On behalf of the people of Papua New Guinea, the working force, we are trying to petition the government by way of providing alternatives or solutions to fight against coronavirus or Delta variant in PNG. As we all know, the pandemic issue is not Papua New Guinea issue alone. It's a global issue. The world is divided. Scientists are divided. Doctors throughout the world, they are divided. Here in Papua New Guinea, our doctors are divided. Intellectuals are divided. Academics are divided. Some are against, some are for. So the best solution is to, by way of providing a petition to the government, appropriate authorities, we will petition the government through the Prime Minister is invited to receive our petition. The Minister of Health, the Pandemic Controller, and the Governor of NCD. They are invited to receive our petition on the 16th of November, which is on when Parliament sits.
The Port Moresby General Hospital is appealing to the general public for voluntary donors to come forward and donate blood. According to team leader Sister Juliet Ohuesaho, the hospital is running low on the life-saving bags of blood and is requiring more blood donors at the Sir Brian Bell Blood Transfusion Centre.
A decision to donate blood can save a life or several if you have healthy blood. According to team leader Sister Juliet Ohuesaho, they are expected to collect 45 to 50 bags a day and 350 per week. The Port Moresby General Hospital is calling on volunteers to come forward to donate blood as they have a low intake of the life-saving bags of blood.
That's according to our demand. Yeah. We do collect every day. However, when the bloods are screened, then if there's infection found, they're not given to the patient. Yeah. So that's how it reduces our number of bags.
Sister Juliet says donors have been reluctant to donate blood due to the surge of COVID-19. She stated that normally they go to schools and churches for people to donate blood. However, with restrictions in place, their blood drive has been affected.
Yes, the surge of COVID has limited our movements. Due to COVID, schools have been suspended, classes have been suspended, and when we go to them, teachers have a limited time of assessment, which we understand, so they cannot assist us. We get a good number from the schools. Even at the offices, some have restrictions, so our mobile clinics or mobile blood drives have been a little bit down. We're collecting blood from people, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, because COVID cannot be transmitted through blood. And for those people who are vaccinated, we give them 2 weeks or 14 days after vaccination, they're eligible to donate.
She also emphasized on the importance of donating blood.
After every 120 days, the body makes new red blood cells. So one way of getting rid of the old red cells is to donate blood. So you give it to the people who need blood and give way for your body to regenerate new blood products. Donating blood reduces the risk of having high blood pressure that may lead to stroke and other heart diseases as well.
The team leader is hoping for more voluntary donors to help contribute to the blood drive.
Yes, Monday was our first day, so we collected only 9. But on Tuesday, we collected 11. On Wednesday, we got a good number, which was 22. And yesterday, we got 16. Friday. So we are hoping for more. Because it's weekend, we're looking forward to having more donors, volunteer donors here today. And tomorrow will be our last day at Vision City.
Podivai, National MTV News.
Chuka Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Chuka Sports.
Welcome to Chuka Sports. Cricket PNG is aiming to build more former players into coaches. Cricket PNG General Manager Tony Naidu says this is an important way forward for the code in the country.
That's too short.
Following Baramandi's successful campaign in the International Cricket Council T20 World Cup, Cricket PNG is now focusing to improve the coaching rank in the country. The emphasis is on former Baramandi players to tap into coaching. This will be a boost for the code of cricket at the national level.
We want to build the coaching ranks here. So one of the things with our under-19s, we've involved more former Barras. I've got 3 already onto coaching courses with New Zealand Cricket.
While the focus is on building the coaching rank, Cricket PNG manager Tony Naidu says more effort must be put in to make this a success.
What I've said to each one of the former players, put in more work than you did as a player, because it's hard work to be a coach. And I want 30, 40 of our former men and women to go through our courses, to go through the international courses.
This may be a long-term goal for the sport of cricket. It's a significant part for former players.
You know, when we start talking in 5 years from now, we need more John Ovias. You know, we need more of our coaches that have played, that are coaching, that are going to the highest levels.
Suli, Chuka Sports.
And that ends Chuka Sports. What are the details after the break?
Chuka Sports. Chuka Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Brief inland showers possible in Port Moresby. Mostly fine weather in Daru, partly cloudy in Kerema, and fine weather, although cloudy, in Alotau and Papandita. In the Mamasa region, partly cloudy in Ley and Wewak, some showers in Wau, and cloudy with a few showers in Medang and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, fine, although cloudy in Lorengau and Keviang, and mostly fine weather in Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, cloudy with a few showers right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG, Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru and Kiwai Islands to Kerema, Tuyul Island to Hood Point and Samarai Islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Samarai Islands to Cape Fogo and eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters north of Cape Fogo through Huon Gulf to Finschhafen, seas of 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Strait to CRC and Long Island to Karkar Island, seas of 1 to 2 meters. Waters north of Long Island to Medang to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, including waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. A look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas slight to moderate with east to southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas slight with northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas slight with east to southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas moderate with east to southeasterly winds at 15 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Saturday, 6th of November 2021. Until next time, pleasant viewing, be safe and good night.